Hello, chess friends, and welcome to Zarov's Chess Channel, and welcome to the super final of the Tata Steel Masters Tournament in 2021. We have the two Dutchmen, Anish Giri and Jordan van Foreest, battling for the throne. We have now reached the Armageddon game. Both of the additional games ended in a draw. Anish Giri played with the white pieces, Jordan van Foreest played with the white pieces. Both games, as I said, ended in a draw, and we haven't reached now the Armageddon game, which is really, of course, a brutal game. If you have luck, then you will win this game, because it's always, I think, a question of luck, nothing else. I think both of these players are great tacticians, are great players, but simply in the Armageddon game, if you have a bad day or you have a bad continuation, then you can lose this one, you can win this one, even with the worst position. So it's really one of the wildest games. So here Anish had to play with the white pieces, so he has 5 minutes on the clock. Jordan van Foreest had 4 minutes on the clock. After 6 moves, both players will have a 3-second increment, but still, this is really wild. You have to play in 9 minutes or 60 moves for both sides, which is really a fast time format. So let's check out now the game. It was really incredible, and of course the winner will be a Dutchman. So here Anish played the move d4, and Jordan van Foreest responded with move d5. We have bishop to f4, the accelerated London system. Anish is really the master in this opening. We have knight to f6, e3. We have c5, which is a very good and pragmatic idea. We have really immediate attack on the d4, because we want to also play queen to b6, then targeting the b2 pawn with this line is really one of the wildest. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, and now knight to d2. e6. Now white goes into this pragmatic idea, building this fortress on dark squares, because we have really already our bishops out. And what we're doing here from white perspective is always to play against a bad bishop. So we're trading off more pieces, and then we're hoping for to reach a bad bishop position of the bishop on c8. The problem is now, of course, for white has pushed many pawns on dark squares, but our bishop is out. That's, I think, a huge difference when it comes to the London system. And I've analyzed the London system from white's perspective on my YouTube chess channel, so you can check it out. You can maybe study this opening. It's really annoying to play against. Here, bishop to d6, bishop to g3 played by Anish. Still, we're battling for the e5. Also, the battle for the e5 is a common strategy in the London system. Here, after move h6, we have bishop to b5, and again, this is an indirect attack against the e5 square. We're battling, as I said, we want to cement and fix something around the square. We have bishop to e7 by Jordan van Foreest. There is a pragmatic idea about this move. He wants to play queen to b6 and challenging here the bishop on b5. But now Anish goes knight to e5. He's challenging the knight immediately. We have now this idea, queen to b6. Here the bishop is attacked, and Anish goes a4, fixing the bishop, which is now a great attacking piece. We are waiting again, black to play the move a6. When that happens, of course, we will simply take, and you have put again a new pawn on a light square. So this pawn on a6 would really make this bishop on c8 even worse. So here, castling played by Jordan van Foreest. We have also castled by Anish, and we have now this move a6. And of course, Anish trades off the pieces. Very good move, very positional move. Here, after b takes c6, we have d takes c5, and I think it's probably one of the prepared lines here by Anish, because he played here really fast, and Jordan van Foreest makes a mistake. He plays bishop takes c5. The problem is now the bishop gets an object of white's attack. A better idea is queen to b5, because b4 is not a possibility your c3 pawn is hanging, and that's a huge difference here. After we move bishop to c5, we have b5, b4, bishop to e7, and now Anish gets another tempo against the queen. It's a huge difference to take with the bishop or with the knight. Now, after move queen to b7, now we have really this London system grip. We have now here the opportunity to attack all of these dark squares in the position. b6 weakness, d6 weakness, c5 weakness, d4 weakness. Really, we're attacking the dark squares. What we would love to do is maybe get rid of both of these dark square bishops, because the only piece that can protect the dark squares is, of course, the bishop on e7. So knight to d3. Here, Anish Giri goes for its idea. He plays knight to d3, knight to b3, and he's trying to cement one of these knights on c5. In the game, knight to d7, you see Jordan van Foreest is trying to protect his dark squares. Knight to b3, and now queen to b5. A new mistake here by Jordan van Foreest. He has to compete somehow with rook to e8. here maybe rook to e8 and trying to get maybe an e4 breakthrough, e5 to battle at least somehow, maybe even in the center with d4, queen to b5, a passive move because Anish has now a new tempo, knight to d4, attacking simply the queen, and now after queen to b7, rook to b1. The idea is very clear by Anish Giri. He wants to play knight to c5, opening the b file and cementing here this rook on a very active square. I hope you realize his strategy simply works here. Black is here a bad bishop. In the game, knight to f6 was played. We are attacking now, knight to c5, bishop to c5, b takes c5. And although this game is now this opposite colored bishop's endgame or middle game, it's still such a better position here for white. White has the opportunity to cement the knight on, cement the bishop on d6. Attack, as I said, the dark squares in the position, bishop to d6. e4 is not a possibility. It's not going to happen anymore. So here in the game, queen to d7 was played, and now rook to b6 played by Anish, attacking the c6 pawn. Our better idea is maybe even to play bishop to d6. At least we're creating a tempo after something like rook to e8, maybe f3. f3 would take away this very important square for the knight, or f3 immediately. Then maybe to play something like rook to b6, but still rook to b6 is perfectly fine. Here white is again much better. Here Anish simply goes for a simple attack against the pawn. We have knight to e4, and now Anish simply takes. We have knight to c3, queen to c2. Still this is a much better position because still this bishop on c8 is a bad bishop, and still you have to make something to happen with your knight. Knight to b5, and here rook to b6, the correct move now by Anish Giri. He attacks now the pawn, this knight twice in the game. Knight to a3 was played, and now comes really the critical moment of the game. Here Anish makes a huge mistakes, c6. Even I think in this particular scenario, you have to play something like queen to c3. And even if black gets here, maybe that's knight on c4, I think in this particular case, you can even sacrifice the rook, connect maybe something like a takes b6. If this pawn gets on b6, and with the support of this knight, if you get it to c7, getting two connected pawns on the 6th rank is such a worse position for black. With the support of this bishop, with the support of this knight, I think in the continuation of the game, black would be forced to even sacrifice maybe the size of material, maybe a rook or minor piece, maybe the bishop for next for this pawn. And here again, white is much better. Here c6 is even a possibility after move knight to c4. But here Anish makes a counter attack, and it's a problem because you're getting really some wild tactics. Knight takes c2. Here Anish takes also the queen, but now after knight to d4, here if you promote the queen, the problem is now you get this intermediate check, knight to e2, and then king to h1. We can take, and still this bishop is hanging. Or first, it's even better here, of course, knight takes g3, h takes g3, and then rook takes c8. We're continuing the game with an extra pawn. Anish saw that, and he played simply e takes d4, took out the knight, and here Jordan van Foreest has a drawish position. And in the game, of course, black wants to play only a draw and has now winning game. Here Anish goes rook to c1, bishop to b5, bishop to d6, attacking the rook. We have rook to c8, and now bishop to c5. Anish has to lock now the position, because the activity of the rooks is now very important. If Jordan van Foreest trades off more rooks, then the position is more and more drawish. Although Jordan van Foreest cannot maybe win this game, but he's satisfied with the draw. Rook to c7, we have rook to e1, rook to c8, f4, we have h5 now blocking the position of light squares, and now king to f2, simply marching with the kings, king to g6, and now g4, very important move by Anish to cut off here the potential activity by the king on the 5th rank. So h takes g4, h takes g4. Here the game was really wild. Both players had under 1 minute on the clock. Really wild stuff happened here. Rook to c6. Anish doesn't want to trade off more pieces because, as we said, we are not going into simplified lines. Rook to b7. Here rook to c7, rook to b8. We have rook to c8, and after rook to b7, Jordan van Foreest tried the repetition to get a draw, and Anish is forced now to take. But now Anish finds at least a new good square. Still, the position is probably drawish, but Anish is hoping here for his battling. Here bishop to d7, rook to g5, the check, king to h7, and now we see how Anish finds now good ways to attack, forcing now the g6 move. And now there are opportunities maybe to get something like bishop to d6, bishop to e5, but the rook is a little bit out of game. You would love to have then maybe the rook somewhere here on the h file in the game. Rook to e5. You see Anish has to retreat now. Here f6 attacking the rook, and now rook to e3. We have king to g8 and now bishop to c5 again. Anish's pieces are much more active now. He did very good things here, although down the pawn in the game. Rook to b7, bishop to b6 again. Anish is not allowing here Yordan van Forest to include his rook into the game. Bishop to b5, and now Anish grabs the pawn in the game. King to f7 was played. Still it's an equal position because of this opposite color bishops. We have rook to e7, rook to c1, and now after rook to e4, king to f3. Everything is protected, everything is good together. Here Yordan van Forest plays bishop to e2, the normal idea, king to g3. We have a new check, and now after king to f2, rook to e4 again, and here rook to c7, the check, king to e8. We have g5 now by Anish, and now rook to f4. A huge blunder here by Yordan van Forest. He took out and lost the bishop. King takes e2, and suddenly it's a winning game here for Anish Giri. But the problem is now he is in move 57, and he has really a couple of seconds on the clock, so he needs to get this move 60 in order to get into this additional time, to get this additional time on the clock. Really wild stuff. After move king to e2, f takes g5 was played, and after move rook to a7, in this position Anish Giri lost on time. So it's really incredible. Anish lost this final. Really wild stuff. I'm not sure what's going on now through his head, but he should have won this. He had every opportunity. Even in these two tiebreak games, he was much better. But I'm not saying fully deserved by Yordan van Forest. He got his chances. He played an outstanding tournament. Congratulations to Yordan. Really amazing tournament. I'm not sure what's, as I said, going on now through Anish Giri's head. He was really down when I saw him live on the coverage, and I wish him that he can recover from this, because it was really a huge opportunity for him to win such a great tournament. He played outstanding tournament and lost now this one. Really wild stuff. Congratulations again to Yordan van Forest, and as I promised you, tomorrow and the next couple of days we're doing some specials about Anish Giri and also Yordan van Forest, because this guys really surprised us, gave us really joy through 2 weeks, and as I said, I was really glad because they performed so well, because we have seen many times Magnus playing good, other players playing good, but this was really their tournament. And of course, when Anish Giri calms down a little bit, he'll be maybe more he'll be not so down. Of course, he's trying to be always positive, to be always polite, but he has to settle on things in his head. And as I said, this was simply his tournament, but he didn't manage to do it, unfortunately, and he has now to regroup. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. Really wild stuff, but that's the spirit of the Armageddon game. Again, congratulations to Yordan van Forest. He was a dark horse of the tournament, used his chances, won many games in the last couple of rounds. Congratulations, Yordan. I wish you all of the best, of course, in the continuation of your career. He's still a young guy, and he can make really great things in the future of his career. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed my coverage of this tournament. If you want to see more games from it, here's the link. You can also check out my previous analyzed games. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.